Hey guys. I look crazy, like always. Hey to everybody logging in. Hey to all my replay viewers. What is up, you guys? Please like this video. It helps me out so much. Anyways, real quickly, this is like a 5-minute live I'm doing. I could make this into a longer YouTube video, and if you guys really want that, let me know. I'm down if you're down, but I did write down a couple of questions and answers, if I can find them on my computer, about living in America that I've been asked quite a few times on my lives, and I'm here for it. You guys know me. I'm an open book. I love answering all of your questions. They are a total vibe. And if I can find it. Okay. Okay. You guys ready? I don't know if I should put it here in front of me. Okay, I guess I'll put it in front of me. Paste card never declines. And I look cray. All right, you guys. So, what is the best and the worst part of living in the U.S.? These are loaded questions, y'all. Some of these questions, I don't know how to answer them. Some of these questions, I have an answer for them today. Maybe my answer might change tomorrow, especially with the state of the world and the economy and everything going on in America. But I am Cuban originally. I was born there and I was raised here most of my life. And, you know, it is the land of opportunity. Sorry, guys. My boo thing was calling me. Oops. Sorry. Anyways, I'm back. Okay. So where was I? What is the best and the worst parts about living in the USA? And I have this written down, so I'm looking at my screen while I'm saying this, okay? The best part is the opportunities. If you work hard, you really can move up, even if you start your own thing. With that being said, though, like, for example, let's say you want a Ferrari, let's say you want a Lamborghini, let's say you want a Mercedes. I've literally had every freaking car that I've ever wanted to own. I had a Mercedes C300 and I got tired of paying $160 for an oil change in 2017. So in 2019, 2 years after I got the Mercedes, give or take, I went ahead and I traded it in for an Acura TLX. I paid off my Acura TLX in less than 3 years, give or take, and I still have the same car in 2025. My baby is 10 years old and I've had it since 2019. It is time for a new car, but I am holding on to that car until the wheels fall off because economy, duh. But yes, you can own anything that you want. Like, literally, the options are limitless as long as you are able to make the money. Now, what's the worst part about living in America? Definitely the cost of living. Rent is extremely disgustingly expensive. My rent is more than half of what I make in a month. Whatever I make, more than half goes to rent alone. I have a partner. I have my future husband, my future baby daddy, that we live together. We've been in a very happy, stable relationship. So we do everything, not even 50-50. We just put all of our money into the bank account, make sure all the bills are paid. And then based on what needs to get paid, what doesn't pay, you know what I mean? Like, based on that, we make sure all the bills are taken care of. And then we do other fun things if we're able to. And 9 times out of 10, that means saving for like trips and little things like that. So the best part is, yes, if you do work extremely hard and low-key kind of quality of life, because you got to give and take. Yes, you're going to be making all this money, but is that really where you want to be? Like, don't get me wrong. Again, nothing wrong with making money. Nothing wrong with having a job. I've had 2-3 jobs. I one time in point last year had 3 jobs. I literally went a little cray, but I got out of credit card debt. I mean, I still have a couple more credit cards that I want to get out of, but it was an extra $700 with my 2 part-time jobs, which was definitely a benefit. But again, cost of living sucks. If it wasn't for my partner and if I didn't live with him, I couldn't afford to live on my own because, again, my 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom rent, very simple, very small little apartment, a little outdated apartment. It's not gross, but it is a little outdated. The kitchen is the most upgraded thing, and not even. And you guys seen it on my live plenty of times. I did a whole apartment tour, and eventually, maybe next year or so on, I will do a full apartment tour. Once I paint and everything's situated. But we recently moved into this new apartment, and new to us, not really new, But yeah, I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford to live there. I would probably maybe be scraping by to rent a room in a house if I didn't have a partner that we would share all of our bills with. And that is kind of scary too, because unfortunately sometimes a lot of people, especially here in South Florida and anywhere around the world really, stay in negative situations, negative relationships, domestic violence situations because they can't afford to live on their own, which is absolutely disgusting and sad and horrible. But we're not talking about that. We are talking about questions about living in America. But anyways, so cost of living sucks. Rent, disgustingly expensive. Groceries, astronomical. Groceries are super expensive, let alone eating out. Like you really can't afford to eat out. Eating out is a luxury. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with doing it every now and then, but it is a luxury. Not everybody can afford it. Healthcare, let me tell you guys, I went to the ER. I have insurance. I have health care. I have insurance. I have medical insurance. I went to the ER and they still sent me a bill that was over $1,000. Did I pay it? Fuck no. That shit can go into collection. And unfortunately, that is the mindset of a lot of Americans. And guess what? I'll eventually, once it goes into collection, I will go ahead and do a payment plan with them and pay them $5 a month forever. Because I'm not paying $1,000. When I have insurance and I'm already paying my monthly insurance premium. And that's if you don't have a deductible. But anyways, neither here nor there. Neither here nor there, you guys. Absolutely horrible. Way too expensive. So yes, you can move up in life. Yes, you can make your own money. Yes, you have to work like a slave. Like, maybe that's the wrong wording for it. But yes, you do have to work 24/7. It's very hard, especially today's age. In 2025, it's a lot more harder. Like in 2023, I had 2 jobs. In 2024, I had 3 jobs. The economy has gotten substantially worse. Biden's economy was way better than Trump's economy. This isn't about being left or right. This isn't about being wrong or right. This isn't about politics, but this is my personal experience. That's what I think. Like, I was always able to find 2 jobs and have my main job, which literally I use for rent because my rent is more than my paycheck. Half my paycheck, even though I have my partner's help. But yeah, so cost of living, horrible. Rent, horrible. Groceries, horrible. Healthcare, atrocious. I don't know if that's going to help anyone, but hopefully it does. What else? So that's definitely the worst part, is just the cost of everything. It's very expensive, crazy expensive compared to a couple of years ago. So how expensive is rent where you live? How expensive is rent where I live? I live in Florida. There's different parts of Florida. South Florida is going to be more expensive than North Florida, than the west coast of Florida. East coast is always going to be more expensive. It's just the vibe. It's what it's going for right now. Right now, a basic apartment, a small, tiny 1-1 is easily going for $1,800. If you want to do like a luxury apartment, you're probably looking at $2,200 a month. That's $2,200 a month for a 1-1. And not even luxury. That's basic. It's horrible. That's why a lot of people end up with roommates or staying with their family longer. I'm Hispanic. That, from our Hispanic household point view, that's normal to live with your family for an extended period of time. I moved out at 19. Me and my mom love each other. We get along great. And stuff like that, but still at the end of the day, by the way, you guys, not that I have to put this disclosure on here, but I am still at work and I'm doing this live video. I did already clock out. It is 7:30 at night. I'm waiting for the rain to stop. That's why I jumped on this live. I am not answering that call because I am clocked out and it is 7:27. I'm just waiting for the rain to stop so I can leave. I don't want to drive in this horrible, like, whether you either have rainy, disgusting, gross, or the devil's asshole. You get either or. You don't get anything in between here in Florida. So yeah, in Florida, rent easily $1,800 to $2,200 for a basic apartment. Maybe renting a room in someone's house. It used to be like $700, $800. Now you're looking to rent a room in someone's house is probably $1,000. The max I've seen is $1,200. That's the max I've seen, is $1,200 to rent a room in someone's house here in Florida, where I currently reside. I can't talk about California. I've heard it's way worse, but I don't know. I've never lived there. So yes, I moved out at 19, but a lot more people are now staying with their family for longer just because they can't afford to. Okay. Do you think the American dream is still real? Honestly, no. But yes, but no. No, but yes. The dream can still be real, but it's way harder to achieve it now. And I think a lot of people's term or definition of the American dream has changed, where they don't want to work 40 hours. Back in the 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, 80s, I know, I'm not trying to compare because, the world changes, life evolves, cost of living has gone substantially higher. But the reality is, back in the day, a man could work 40 hours a week, have a wife and a kid, or a wife and two kids, and at least be able to afford to go on vacation once, maybe twice a year if you were lucky, but at least once a year. And he was able, with his sole income, to maintain himself, his wife, and his one or two kids. Back in the day. That doesn't exist anymore, literally. It doesn't exist anymore. Well, at least from my point of view, what I've seen between my friends, my family members, people that surround me, and people that are my age, it's very hard. So it is harder. You need to hustle, you need to budget, and sometimes even have 3 side hustles to simply make ends meet, which that to me means that the American dream is dying. And I think the only way maybe it could be saved is to change it. I mean, the cost of living isn't going to go down anytime soon. I don't have a problem with the cost of living, but I do have a problem when everything's more expensive and I'm getting paid the same that I was 3 years ago. Does that make sense? And it's not the company's fault. It's just literally, I've searched other jobs, even though I love my current job and I love it here, but I've literally searched other jobs and that's the pay rate. It sucks. It's horrible. Yet you can't afford groceries, but yes. So yes, in reality, I do think the American dream is dying. It is not the American dream anymore. Definitely not. What's the biggest cultural difference between the US and other countries? I'd say how individualistic the US is in other cultures, families, and communities. Like in other cultures, like community and family come first. Here's very like every man for himself. That could be a good or a bad thing. I don't like it. It's very like, let me step on you to get to the next level. It sucks you're in that position. I'm not in that position. Sounds to me like a personal problem. And people will step on you to get where they want to be. And that's horrible and disgusting. I try not to have people around myself like that. I try not to surround myself with those people. I try to have a good group of friends, and I'm very blessed and thankful that I do. But America is a very dog-eat-dog world. So culture-wise, family-wise, companies are out here trying to make a quick buck. I understand that we are a capitalist place, and that's fine. Hey, I prefer capitalism over communism any time, date, whatever. 1,000% capitalism over communism any day, shape, age, whatever. That's what I prefer. But with that being said, though, I do think we need more laws to literally protect ourselves, in the sense that we are poisoning our own food, we're poisoning our own water, we're poisoning our own environment here in America, where some things are illegal in other countries. We eat them every day here, and we didn't even know about them until they hit the news. And little things like that, I feel like we don't do enough to protect our own people because of greed. Example, I have a friend of a friend who went to Paris and had pasta every single day and lost 8 pounds. Yet you eat pasta here every single day, you're going to be 300 pounds by the end of the week. It's the quality of the food, how you make it, how everything. So yeah, that's the only bad thing. So yeah, what is one thing I would like to change about the US? Wow, so many things. Healthcare to start off. 100% healthcare. It should not cost thousands of dollars to see a doctor or go to the hospital. I have health insurance. I shouldn't have to pay $1,000 plus because my insurance only covered 90% of whatever it is that I had done at the emergency room. That honestly, TMI, I'm a very, very open book. I'm very honest with you guys. In December, I have PCOS, not the end of the world. I've been able to manage it, but I had a really, really bad cyst that I thought maybe was going to explode or whatever. I was in so much pain, I couldn't even drive home. I literally drove myself to the ER leaving work and I was sweating. I was in so much pain. Steven took an Uber to meet me at the ER, and he had to advocate for me because I couldn't even talk. I couldn't even speak. And all they did was give me pain medication, which was amazing. I was high as hell. It was amazing that the pain medication instantly kicked in and I was able to talk and communicate, and I had a cyst the size of a grape. I haven't been back to check it, but I do have to go to my OBGYN to make sure it's gone. Sometimes cysts just not fall, but like dissolved on their own. Not always. And this is a bunch of medical stuff I'm talking into, like TMI. Not always, but it does happen. It goes away on its own. I did go to my OBGYN. She explained to me it was very, very small. It was smaller. She did like another ultrasound and it was smaller than when it originally was in the ER, I think. I don't know, dude. I'm not a doctor. Thankfully, after that, I haven't been in pain. When my period comes, it's painful because, you know, period cramps, but it's not like, I'm dying, you know, that I need to rush to the ER, which is a good sign. But I shouldn't have to pay for $1,000. I think they charge me like $400, and I would love to do that with you guys one day and live review my medical bill, which is insane. I think they charged me like $400 for a pair of gloves. What? Okay. Crazy. So yeah, healthcare, 1,000%. I think that's one of the main things that this country needs to fix. Typical work life. I'm in the healthcare I'm a healthcare admin. I do emails, scheduling, insurance stuff, a lot of organization and communication, but I really like it. How do Americans really feel about work-life balance? We hate it. I hate it. I can only talk for myself, and I'm American, so I do think a lot of people understand where I'm coming from. I have 2 couples. One of them, my best friends, Aisha and Samaya, they have lived all around the world. They lived in Egypt, they lived in Mexico, they lived in Thailand, and they love living in Thailand because it's affordable. They can actually work from home there and make a livable wage and enjoy themselves and not have to be stuck in survival mode. I think America is survival mode. And if you don't have, and it's not even if you don't have the balls, some people just don't want to do that. That's okay. You shouldn't want to have to be stuck living in survival mode 24/7. You really, really honestly shouldn't. And I have another couple that I've heard of that is also moving to Spain. You know, I know Spain's economy is iffy right now, but it's a lot better than here, at least with the amount of money that they have saved up compared to the cost of living here. So we don't have so again, reiterate the question, how do Americans really feel about work-life balance? We don't have one. There is no work-life balance, to be honest. Most people here are overworked, underpaid, upset, angry, sad, depressed, because that's all we do is work and pay bills, and everything costs money. And I am so blessed and happy, and I love my group of friends. Like, not this Saturday, because this Saturday I had to recharge my social battery, and I had to do laundry, and I had to do schoolwork, and I started school again, and all these things. So last weekend, a group of girls and I got together. I got some drinks. They ordered food, and we just did that because it's cheap. It was affordable. I got 2 big things of margarita for $15 each. That was $30. That was still $30, but it was amazing. Cheaper than going out and drinking at a bar. My friend bought the food. It was 4 of us and 2 guys, and it was a vibe. It was 6 of us. It was a vibe. We were in the pool, my pool, and I pay rent there, so you best believe I'm using the pool. I've made the huge mistake of being in another apartment complex and never having the chance or the opportunity to use the pool because I've always had 2-3 jobs. And I'm just like, I'm not making that same mistake, baby. This is included in my rent money that I pay and I struggle to pay every month. Well, not struggle to pay, but yeah, you know, some months are better than others. Girl, you best believe I'm going to be using my pool. Even if it's nighttime, it was a vibe. All 6 of us were chilling in the pool at like 10 o'clock at night. It was a vibe. It was wonderful. Thankfully, my pool doesn't close at sunset. So yeah, we don't have a work-life balance. We don't. We're overworked, underpaid, and overwhelmed. And I think 90% of millennials probably have a little bit of anxiety and depression just sprinkled on there. Do you think Americans work too much compared to other countries? Yes and no. In Europe, compared to Europe, people get 4 to 6 weeks of vacation. I am reading my screen. 4 to 6 weeks of vacation. Here you get 1 or 2 weeks if you're lucky. Currently where I live at, where I work at, I don't have 2 weeks paid vacation. I don't have that. I think I have like I think every month and a half is like 1 day PTO, or every month is 1 day PTO, something crazy like that. So I don't have sick days. I don't have, like, if I'm sick, but I don't get paid kind of vibe. So there's that. Um, yeah, and we're expected to always be available and work. I think comparing it to like Japanese culture or Chinese work culture, maybe it's different. I've heard it's a lot worse there. But I want to wrap this up because I think the rain's getting worse. But I need to go home. I'm tired. I want to go home. So yeah, there's that. So it depends if you're comparing yourself to Europe or you're comparing yourself to the Asian countries. I don't have, if I were to get pregnant tomorrow, which eventually I do want to have a baby, I want to start a family with my future husband, and we'll get there when we get there. You know, God's timing is perfect, no rush, whatever. I'm so fairly young. I'm only 32, and it's better to wait and have a kid and love your kid and have the time and not the money, because money comes and goes, but yeah, have the financial stability, the mental stability, to give birth and enjoy my pregnancy and love my life and love the whole thing. And I know that will happen, and I know it's going to happen like that, and it's going to be great. It's going to be a wonderful time. But the reality is I prefer to wait a little bit and be more prepared than some people I know that just pop babies out. Listen, there's nothing wrong with that. You do you, boo. But I've seen a lot of people in their 20s, early 20s, late 20s struggle being a mom and being a dad because they haven't been able to financially or mentally take care of their kids the way that they deserve to be taken care of. And hey, each to their own, judgment-free zone here. Just saying, this is from my personal experience. So, and the reason I bring that up and the reason I talk about that and the reason that I say that is because of the following. If I were to get pregnant and give birth, guess what? I don't have 6 weeks paid time off here. I can take 6 weeks maternity leave, not paid. My job's not going to pay it for me. And I don't have a bad job, but it will not pay it for me. Okay, so I gotta save up money. So that way I can have a baby and not be homeless. Buying a house right now is absolutely out of the question. Unfortunately, it's at least $500,000 that I don't have to buy a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom shitty ass home here in South Florida. That probably has termites, and I'm not going to do that to myself because I'm not going to pay $4,000 a month. Three to four. My mom's neighbor just bought his house. It's about $3,000, give or take, a month. I don't have that money, and no, I'm not going to do that to myself. When I feel prepared to do that, I will do that. But right now, it's cheaper for me to rent, even though rent is more than half my paycheck. But that's just where I'm at right now, and that's okay. It is what it is. And I know that I'm not the only person on this boat, and I know that I'm very blessed, and I know that there are a lot of people that are in worse situations than me. And I also know and understand that there are a lot of people that are in a better financial situation than me. So that's that. So yeah, I know India is probably horrible. I don't know if you get, I doubt you get like 6 weeks paid time off in India, but just saying, and as overall. What's the weirdest funny thing that ever happened to you at work? One time a patient called me and asked me what my favorite pizza topping was because they wanted to send us a pizza. It was sweet. It was different. And I think that's it. How do Americans celebrate holidays differently than other countries? Bigger and louder. Christmas, we're very like consumerism, and after I hit 30, I'm like, I'm not doing that. I used to be the kind of person that would get a brand new phone every 6 months because it was included in my plan. So if you have T-Mobile or AT&T, you pay like $30 extra a month, which is insane. If you really sit there and add up, you're like, oh, it's only $30 a month. No, baby, that shit adds up. It really does add up. And I was like, to every 6 months, like every time I'm a Galaxy girl. I don't like iPhones, each to their own. My mom loves iPhones. She wanted an iPhone. I finally got her an iPhone for like Mother's Day, like 2 years back, something like that. I don't know. Give or take 2-3 years ago. And, she's gotten like 2 iPhones so far or whatever. I used to get like a brand new phone every 6 months because it was included in my plan. I canceled that. I have a Samsung Galaxy S24. And I upgraded to the S20, and I had the S20 for a long time. for about 4 years, give or take, until I decided to do the S24. And now I think the S25 and the S26 came out. Guess what? I don't care. I'm staying with this phone until the wheels fall off this phone. The same way I'm staying with my car until the wheels fall off the car. I want an SUV, and an SUV is at least $35,000, if not more. And I'm staying with my car until the wheels fall off, because guess what? I pay cheap insurance. You know why? Because the baby's paid off. So we're just doing maintenance on it. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. What's your favorite city in the US and why? Orlando. I'm a Disney person. I love Disney. It's a vibe. It can be pricey, but if you're smart about going to Orlando, a lot of my friends and I, Disney's not the only place that you can come here in Florida to really enjoy. Disney's not the only place. There's so many other parks that are a lot more affordable. There's Busch Gardens, and it's really cool. There's so many other parks that you can do, and my friends and I, if we're balling on a budget, we'll just rent an Airbnb all together and do that. And then what we'll do is we'll cook in the Airbnb. Everybody, like, one person brings breakfast, one person brings lunch for everybody, one person brings dinner. Like last time I brought chicken and rice, somebody else brought eggs and this, one person bought beer, I bought like 2 bottles of whiskey, like one bottle of whiskey and 1 bottle of margarita. Like, we all chip in, and it's a vibe, and it's amazing and a blessing to find friends like that, especially in your adult life. Do you ever wish you lived somewhere else? Sometimes I think about Europe. It's slower pace, better healthcare, more vacations, but US is home right now, and I think I have to be a lot more financially stable than what I currently am to really make that move. And I am making my life in the US. Ask me this question again in 6 months, and maybe I might have a different answer. I have been dabbling with the illusion of maybe moving out of the US and moving somewhere else, but I feel like economical issues happen everywhere. Like Colombia. Colombia is beautiful, and it's affordable, and it's cheap for us Americans, because I would be making American money and living in Colombia. But if I had to live in Colombia and work in Colombia and have a Colombian job, I probably wouldn't be as financially stable as I would be working from home as an American living in Colombia. So a couple ideas and things that I've thought about it, but yeah. So is healthcare really as expensive as people say online? Yes, 100%. A simple ER visit can cost thousands of dollars, even if you have insurance. That's why a lot of people avoid going unless it's life or death, which is horrible, because preventative care should be way more affordable than when you already have the illness. And yeah, you guys, listen, I gotta go. This has been 30 minutes, me just talking. Leave a comment down below if you guys have any other questions or concerns about America. Make sure you guys like this video. I love you all. Bye. Adios.